So after it passes quality assurance, comes into Warren's workroom.
Development,
space.
listening, quality
Yeah.
assurance.
So here, Warren, you can explain it better than I can, what you do.
This is Warren Gill. He is in charge of
Sonic development.
sonic
Sonic
development.
development and new product quality control to make sure everything that leaves here is as good as the next product.
After it's measured, you listen to it.
Listen to it, check the functionality, make sure it falls within a very narrow window
Right.
of sonic performance. If it doesn't sound like I want to take it home, it doesn't leave the plant.
All right.
We have a reference 150 SE we use as our baseline amp in here for everyday use, where we test reference preamps and phono stages and all the other products. And then over further here, we have a reference 6 as our preamplifier. We use as the baseline in the room as our reference. And we have a CD6 CD player and a vintage VPI
Yeah.
turntable.
TNT. This is the I owned one of these just like this, and it's got the 3 pulleys.
It's a very sweet sounding table.
Yep.
Very dynamic. Good.
The flywheel and
It doesn't have that thin, hard acrylic tonal balance. It has a very natural, even tonal balance. And we have a Grado statement cartridge on there,
Okay.
which is about 0.5 millivolt output.
And what vintage is that cartridge?
Oh, that's running on probably 6 years old. It runs perfectly.
Yeah.
Never had a hiccup or a flaw. Very sweet and
Never vomited. Nothing.
No.
No.
super great in the mid-range.
Yeah. That's where it's super great.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah,
That's its.
it's effortless
strong
on
suit.
vocals. And currently we have the Magnapan 20.7s in here as our everyday listening speaker. A very high resolution, fast, dynamic, great depth in the room, and an assortment of RPG diffusers.
Yep.
Both,
Have them myself.
yeah, they work good. They make the room disappear more, the boundaries of the room.
That's the idea.
And various ASC tube traps as well. And some vintage Magnaplanar timpanis over in this
Yeah.
corner.
See.
For low resonance absorption.
Right.
Occasionally hold court in the speaker position, and we play them.
Okay.
And a vintage AM tube radio.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Probably the best sounding electronics in the place. But I'm.
Hey, no. So here David will take the finalized product and he'll put the skin on. So whatever colors the customers ordered for the front panel, the side panel.
Because they have a choice.
buttons.
They have a choice of silver or black. Is that-
Exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Looks a lot better with everything on it.
Our customers think so too.
And where are all these panels all made locally?
Not all of them. Some of them are outsourced, but
Some are made locally.
yeah, we try to make as much metalwork locally.
Whoever has the best expertise, we go to.
Right. And
Yeah.
so these
Some processes. I mean, for example, like these knobs.
they're not plastic.
No, this is actually machined aluminum.
It looks
And
like
we've
plastic.
been accused that they're plastic.
Right,
People are like,
right.
oh, those cheap plastic knobs.
Right.
Like, well,
They're anodized,
if you
too.
feel them, they're actually, you can feel they're cold. That they have
Yeah,
some weight
yep.
to them.
Oh, yeah.
But they're made so nicely that people think they're
You
plastic.
you pay a penalty for making something nicely.
But this is a good example. I mean, this is a process that's not even doable in the U.S. This is a dual anodized process where it's black and
where's that done?
This is done in Asia.
Can't do it here because the skill set or the machining or the
We can't find a
EPA?
supplier that does dual color anodizing.
So now when the design team at Sonus came up with this kind of look,
right.
you then have to go and execute it. It's
Right.
It's like they say to you, here's what we came up with.
No, they're very adept at sourcing vendors to work with.
Oh really? So it's not, they don't just say, here's a nice looking thing, you take it this and
they,
make
they
it.
have accumulated knowledge in developing, Sonus Faber products,
Right.
products they design, and so they have a list of key vendors they work with and tend to work with that have been shown to
Yeah, I mean, because we get some
give
parts.
happy results.
For example,
Oh, that's great.
some parts come from Italy. Some of the little metal parts.
Those are the ones that taste good.
The badges, some of the badges do.
Yeah, I see. That's interesting.
Again,
'Cause
we
you
try
think
to-
it was just a matter of, well, here's a nice looking thing that you figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a combination of things. It's sourcing the appropriate skill set, like I say with this knob, sourcing the ability to finish it like we want, and also maintain a cost structure. You know, the thing about metalwork is it doesn't directly affect the sound quality, right? So, you know, we could theoretically spend $1,000 just on, you know, these panels or what have you for the chassis.
Yeah.
To real no sonic benefit. So it becomes this balancing act.
But
you know?
people who spend the kind of money that these things cost want something that has a certain aesthetic.
Right. Well, exactly. And we're trying to give it a newer aesthetic, you know,
Right.
keeping in mind the old look of audio.
I like the look.
And in the case of the side panels where the transformers are bolted directly, there is a sonic benefit. It acts as a massive kinetic energy sink.
So you don't get a buzz.
No,
Yeah.
it deadens the vibrations.
Yeah.
Plus, it looks good.
Yeah, it does looks great. And you don't see any screws because it's screwed in from behind. How does that work?
They're hidden
See the little
tabs
screws?
in
Yeah.
from behind.
I see. I like the color of those caps. They're so beautiful.
Those are proprietary.
It's a shame that they have to be hidden.
So, and you'll notice too. So those.
Well, the cover is the standard color is a clear acrylic cover, so they really aren't hidden.
So this is the phono stage actually, right?
Right.
So,
Oh.
and you'll notice that the gold caps in there are different than the gold caps in the Ref 6. So
Yeah.
and you'll find, you know, if you look at another product, the caps are different yet again. So, you know, we do a lot of proprietary parts that are actually not just specific to audio research, but specific to a given product.
Right.
You know, which is
And we work with the vendors to develop the product, the Sonics,
Yeah.
with them. And, so it's
And
a
you're
custom
heavily
part.
involved in that too.
I
so you've seen
am, I am the one that's
capacitors.
involved, in the
He's the
design
one
of the
that does it,
capacitors, of voicing them with
Yeah.
the
So
vendor.
so that must be a particularly onerous task. You're sitting and listening to capacitors.
Well-
It can't be fun.
Sometimes they're a joy and sometimes they're a pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they eventually end up being a joy.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
they have to end up.
Yeah, I visited one place where the guy it was a very simple amplifier, and he just changed one capacitor. And it was like, get out of here.
right.
And sometimes we have several vendors vying for the same part
Sure.
for our business, and
Yep.
we see who comes up with the best parts.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, what's next?
Yeah. So basically, after this process, you know,
And those are all panels up there.
right. Those are all just different panels.
Yeah.
Yep.
All in styrene sleeve.
After that, then basically just moves on to shipping, gets boxed up and sent out.
So these are amplifiers ready to go.
Right.
These are 150s.
It's the GS 150, yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm getting familiarity with.
And this ugly rubber surround is put on here just for protection purposes.
Sure. Does
So,
it get shipped that way or no?
no, it doesn't. No,
It's just for here.
It's just for here.
So
As
they
it,
get boxed,
as it moves through the factory.
so they don't get nicked.
So yeah, so we keep a small backstock of product, but
That's unboxed as well.
Yeah,
as
it's
some that's
unboxed.
boxed.
so that it can.
And here are Ref 250s without
Have you ever
covers
done
on.
a personality profile of your customers to see which ones buy the black faceplates and which ones buy the silver ones? Is there a particular?
No, but you know, regionally, I would say regionally,
Yeah, how does that work?
Austria and Germany, for the most part, order black front panels.
no, Germany's silver.
I see German orders that are black, but
Really?
Austrian orders almost,
I would say, yeah.
almost always black.
Let's not fight over this. No,
And then Poland is also majority black panels. Yeah. But then like Scandinavia is all natural colored, so all the silver panels.
now, what is that amplifier right there?
That's the 750 monoblock. So that's our biggest amplifier.
Yeah, that is big.
Yeah. Yeah, there are only 2 people in the factory that are permitted to build those.
Well,
And we actually,
so what do those sell for?
there's 60,000 a pair.
60,000 a pair?
Yeah. And we actually build those on these engine mounts.
Wow.
So the amplifier gets bolted, the bottom of it gets bolted to this, because it's 3 layers. It really helps if they're able to kind of twist and turn
Sure.
the amplifier
Oh,
as,
yeah.
as they're putting it together. So yeah, this is actually they move their way through that whole process, bolted to one of these carts as opposed to the standard.
And this is where the transformers get.
Right, so we take the transformers in here, we clean them up a little bit, everything, spray paint them, and you know, just get them. Try to, you know, they're not beautiful, even here, but they're a lot better looking than
Yeah, that looks like
than
that
raw.
looks like it was ship salvage.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, from underwater.
They're just not a pretty
These were
device.
taken from the Titanic, and I know they don't look good, but they don't make these anymore. And the Titanic had a lot of them, so we used them. Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's another item too that's typically proprietary per product.
Yep.
So there's not a lot of sharing transformers. So that we stock a lot of different transformers because each product has its own specific requirements.
Yep. Now what's this? This is a.
That's the chassis. at the bottom.
Why is this chassis here?
I don't know why it's here. It's probably going to get some transformers.
Oh,
But
I
this
see.
This is the bottom part of the GS150
Yeah,
amplifier.
that makes sense. It's very beautiful.
It is. It's a beautiful. It's a very expensive chassis because you can see, like here, this is all hand soldered, or say hand welded, and then it's hand sanded and finished.
yeah, right.
So there's loads of
Oh, yeah,
handwork.
there's no like the folds don't show because it's
And you can see, it's not perfect. I mean, you can tell it's done by hand.
Yep.
And then this all the laser etching.
Yeah.
Is it's not obviously it's not etched by hand, but
Right.
it's also a time-consuming process.
What brand are these? Do you know? Are these made for you?
Warren can answer that question because again, that's a process that he will go through when
Listening to
he listens
I
to
know Binding Post.
Binding Posts. Yeah.
I know. That I've heard.
Yeah.
Not difficult to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then basically after David panels
What's in here?
I'm going to take you there in just a second.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, basically, it goes from here and then it goes down there into shipping where you see all the boxes.
Right.
And it gets boxed and sent out of the.
And what's happening here? Well,
So this is service.
service.
Yeah, this is the service department. So we service anything we've ever built. Chris, this is Chris, our lead
Remember
service
Michael?
tech.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah.
How are you?
Nice to see you again. I
Nice to
haven't
see
seen you
you.
in a number of
A
years.
long time.
Yeah.
Very long time.
Love your column.
Thank you.
Keep the vinyl spinning,
You
man.
bet. You bet.
Vinyl, number one.
You bet. Awesome.
You can see a bunch of sample boards up there, like we saw up front.
Right.
So these guys will use those to reference whatever they're working on. But Audio Research prides itself in that we can fix, with the exception of a very few selection of products, we can fix anything we've ever built
Wow.
in the past 46
And
years.
how far back do the products
46
go?
years.
You get stuff from the early.
We actually get stuff that's even older than Audio Research, so that original Electronic Industries.
Wow.
Chris will get that in, and he can still work on that too.
Wow.
Things like CD players. There are a couple of CD players we can't get the transports
Yeah.
anymore.
And then what happens? They're out of luck.
That
happens all over the industry. I know.
It's an unfortunate side
That's the
effect.
great part about turntables.
The other thing we do here is we break in all of our power tubes, or burn in all of our power tubes. Unfortunately, we don't have any tubes stuffed in here right now, but these are all custom machines that we built
Just to
just to burn in tubes. They're the power tubes. And what we'll do is we'll stuff the machines, and then we'll run the tubes for 2 days. Their electrical characteristics aren't stable until after about 2 days worth of use.
wow.
So the burn-in process allows us to stabilize the tube's characteristics, and then we measure the tubes. So you'll always notice on Audio Research power tubes that there are two numbers written on here, and these are two electrical characteristics that our guys measure and use for sorting. And the idea here is that
You want to match the tubes.
well, you want to match set,
Transconductance.
right?
Yeah.
But also too, from a serviceability, longevity standpoint, if all the tubes have similar characteristics and they're not, one tube isn't working harder than the rest, and
Sure, that all makes sense.
yeah, and also too, I mean, they do have different sonic characteristics,
Yep.
and Warren will choose which tubes go into which products. For example, like these tubes might sound better in one amplifier, whereas these tubes will sound better in another, and he'll make those determinations.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
I thought he sort of sits around and listens to music all day, and that's the end of the job. I was going to say that's a job. Well, that is my job. What am I talking about?
So, and you can see, I mean, we already buy these tubes pre-sorted. So we spend extra money with the manufacturer, and then after we get them, we sort even
resort them
further.
again.
Yeah. So
Campaign. Okay, this is one of the.
that's the big sound room. Yeah.
So can we get a light on it?
Sure,
Do
sure.
they have lights in here?
We do. We try to keep them a little more subtle because fluorescents are so horrible. But
Okay,
That was a
this is
listening mode.
one of the listening rooms, and let's see what's in here right now. So we have, this is Alan Perkins' RPM turntable. You'll notice the looks. This was designed in the 1990s, and everybody copied this. I'm not going to mention the brands that copied it, Fikert, Clear Audio, but that was his look in the 1990s, and it's still a wonderful
And
turntable.
a current tri-planar arm.
Right, current triplanar arm, which is another Minnesota product. You got a Lyra Scala in there
Lyra Scala
with
cartridge.
cartridge, and then you have a Ref 6 here. Is that
Ref 6 preamp and a Ref Phono 3 phono stage on the right.
Yep, that's the phono. That's the Ref 6.
And that's the CD9 CD player above that.
Above that, okay. Is that currently in production?
Yep.
Shows you what I know. I don't know. Okay, and then these are the Aidas,
Is it the Aida? Yeah.
Sonus Faber, Aidas, and you're using those cable lifters, which people mock audiophiles for using because they can't possibly make a difference,
Right, but they do.
Yeah, they do.
and they make a difference because static electricity gets accumulated in the cables when you're not
Just proximity to the floor and the field interaction from the cable with the materials and the carpeting.
Okay, people will scream about that, but we don't care if they scream, right? It don't
The
matter.
system is good enough.
They can
It's
scream.
quite audible.
Okay, so this is a good place to come and listen to music, which I hope
Yeah.
we'll do a little bit later.
Can we do that today? Yeah.
And the GS150 power amp stereo.
Right, that's the one I heard at the Expona show.
Right.
Yeah.
That room was spectacular. I still get tingly thinking about the sound in that room. And I'm not saying that because I'm here, because the sound in that room sucked. I would say so.
We would
That's
expect
just
you
the
to.
person that I am. That way, when I say something sounds really great, it
People
means
sit up and
something. It means something.
So there's a preamp that's getting built. It's actually the Ref 6 preamplifier. So what they'll do is they'll get the order in, and she'll grab a chassis, and then go over there to the board.
So you don't keep inventory per se.
We do keep some.
Some, but
Yeah.
for the most part, if someone orders something, then you build to order.
We keep unfinished or incomplete chassis typically. So this doesn't have any metalwork on it.
Right.
So we'll build it up, and finish it to this point, get it through all the testing, and then keep it unfinished. And then when order comes in, then we just put the panels on it. Because otherwise, it's usually a 3 to 5 day process
Yeah.
to build something.
Wow.
And that's
it's like a
just-
whole week to build a piece. That's essentially.
Right. Well, again, just what we went through over there. You consider the whole board process.
Oh yeah.
At
It
least
doesn't surprise me at all.
that's a day, right?
yeah.
And then, this is pretty quick, this assembly process here, but then it goes to the quality assurance guys, which we'll get to in a minute. And then after that it goes to the listening test and et cetera, et cetera. Since we're here at Service, let me bring you over to another space. This room is an accountant's nightmare. Because these are all parts for products we don't make anymore.
Wow.
So we keep a stock of parts, everything you can see from transformers and circuit boards, the front panels, chassis parts,
Wow.
and then individual components, so that when we do get a 30-year-old piece of equipment in here, we've got the things to fix it.
These are things that people do not consider.
No,
You know,
no, and that's the reason
D120. Now that's old.
That's why I say this is an accountant's nightmare.
Sure.
Because this room mostly just sits here.
Look at
And
this.
it's all this inventory, which they hate. They hate stagnant inventory, but
Yeah, but
But-
that's.
it's it's for our customers.
So now, what are you working on here? This one. This is a.
Well, this is a Ref 250 SE. We actually have a two-step final quality control. Basically, the QA
this is
department.
new. This is new.
This is a brand new
This is new.
product going out to a customer. The QA department does their full checkout. Warren listens to it. They panel it, and then basically I check everything again and do a full second QA checkout to make sure that nothing was missed. It's just a two-step process that we've instituted to try to give the customer the very best possible product we
Right.
can.
Okay, so
That's inventory there for all the current products.
current product,
So,
current product inventory.
Current circuitry,
Okay.
all the metalwork and stuff. And like I said, back here is mainly just storage and shipping. And we source everything as locally as possible.
That makes sense.
I mean, well, I think it's part of what people are buying with our brand. They're not buying a $50 widget.
Right.
This is an investment, hopefully a long-term investment.
And you tell people to keep their boxes.
Yes, we do.
I save every box.
Yeah.
And these people just don't appreciate what it takes to do all of this.
Right.
It just seems like it's a finished product. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Are these all empty too?
These are all empty. These are actually finished product, but they're not sealed up so that if so what we do is we keep a minimal stock of paneled finished product at certain voltages. But
Right.
for example, if we have a 230 available and an order comes in for a 120, we can just pull it out of
Right.
the box. change the voltage.
Refono.
Yeah.
Very optimistic about selling phono preamps.
As a
You
Rev 6
probably
is here.
are. Yeah.
We sell a lot of phono preamplifiers.
I'm sure.
We really do.
It's happening, baby.
It is.
Okay, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Hi, I'm Livio Cucuzza. I'm the director of design for the WOM group.
The whole WOM group. Okay. Well, we have WOM feelings towards you then. So let's go in here and see what. Oh, this is So it's. Where is it?
You gotta go through Warren's.
Oh, we have to go through Warren first, right?
Sorry, Warren, we're going to the archive room. Good.
I used to think your love was something.
Where do we go?
Here, right here.
Oh, that's what I thought.
I was just moving the cart.
This was the first place that I visited when I arrived here in Audio Research 2 years ago, and for me it was like a dream come true, because I was always a big fan of Audio Research. My father has a shop when I was a child, and so I grew up surrounded by Audio Research gears. And of course, when we started to work together on the new products, I took inspiration from some of these beauties. The first product that I really used to create the inspiration behind the new product was the SP1. In fact, you can see that some of the elements of this product are reinterpreted in the new line of amplifiers.
the knobs particularly.
Yeah, the knobs in particular, the black window that now we are using for the display,
Right.
and the tube canyon was introduced in the GS.
I love that expression, the tube canyon.
Yeah.
It's very colorful.
Yeah.
You could call it Tube Valley. Like Death Valley. You get stuck in Tube Valley, you never come out. Okay.
Yeah, so you can see that everything starts here from Audio Research, and everything restarted here for the new GS line, and now for the new reference line. So this was the main inspiration for the preamplifiers. The other inspiration came from the really famous D79.
Yep.
So we used the
3 meters.
3 meters as Audio Research done in the past.
You just integrated the meters a little more cleanly into the look. And
Yes,
get rid of
we
the
tried
colors.
to create a match between this philosophy and a more modern and clean design.
Right.
Another things that I really loved from the past of Audio Research was the use of flat chassis that expose the tubes, but also say to the customer a lot of details about the technology used inside. So I love this way to put all the technical parts exposed to the amplifier, because it's something that tells what there is inside.
The test points and
Yeah.
all the other. Yeah. Okay.
So our mission was to recreate this sort of technical style that was.
You're not going to bring back the Dymo label tape, though, are you?
No.
No.
This is a little bit too much, but
Yeah, because that has its own aesthetic. There are Dymo label maker connoisseurs that would probably like seeing that.
But
let's not listen to them.
we used a lot of labels of the past on the top of the unit, all the warnings, all the graphics that they used in the past.
Right.
Now are not so functional because we don't have to put all the labels on the units. But I really like to use some of that because.
So people don't kill themselves. Yeah, it's always a good thing.
It also reminds to the past, to
Yep.
the story
Yep.
of the
They have gold. How often do you? That's I've never seen anything.
No, that was a special edition we did for Taiwan.
The times like for the Asian market. Yeah, they love that. They love that gold.
But you also notice like the hole pattern in the top
Yeah.
panel of that
Yeah.
chassis, the little round holes is something else that Livio took as inspiration
Yeah.
in one of the products.
You copied it. Let's be
Absolutely.
honest. Yeah.
This is the design.
Right.
We put element. We bring elements from
Right,
from other products and we put together.
Wow.
And then you'll see some other things in here too. I mean, for example, I can't really see it well, but that up there,
Is that a studio board?
that's a studio board. It's custom made by Bill. Here's another one back here
Yeah, I noticed that.
on top of
yeah.
that one. And you'll notice that that one's also branded Electronic Industries
Yeah,
as opposed
yeah.
to Audio Research. So, you know, a number of these little guys.
Is that for a radio station, I assume?
Exactly. You know, this is an old Electronic Industries product. And even, you know, I think you got up in that top left corner over there, the S up here. So that's actually, those are the same products, but that's right after Bill started Audio Research. He was actually dual branding
I
both
see.
Electronic
Yeah,
Industries and Audio Research
Yeah,
components for at least a year or two, I believe, until he stopped doing that.
Mm-hmm. And there he is. For those who don't know
And there's Bill.
the gentleman, there's Bill. There he is. Hi, Bill.
But here too, you look at these old amplifiers. You know, we were looking at the chassis of the GSI 150.
Yes.
This is the inspiration. But we were talking about those hand welded.
It's the same, yeah.
It's the same approach,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so
Same
that's
approach.
kind of the look that we were going for. You know, trying to recreate that aesthetic.
There's some people that still swear by these things, you know. I swear to God, they do.
Well, Mr. Vandersteen still does. He
Yeah.
puts on a lot of his speakers.
Yeah, they just
The
love
terminal
those
strips.
things.
Yeah.
They're just not very user friendly.
No,
You know, if you're using-
they limit to what you can use. That's the problem. People get very annoyed when they buy a very expensive speaker cable and then they can't use
Can't
it.
use it. Yeah, exactly. And that was good back in the day when we were all using a lamp cord.
Right.
But
I just heard a great story from a guy. He had a customer who came in to buy something, and he insisted on he's using a lamp cord. The guy says, "But I can tell you, all cable sounds the same. It can't. I'm an electrical engineer. It can't possibly make a difference." The guy would not even take the test. He wouldn't even listen.
Right.
Don't listen.
oh, no, I had that experience many times in retail, especially engineers. They if it measures
Right. That's all.
the same, then it's
Yeah.
going to sound the same. This is what we call the transistor room. And this is how you make a 50 cent part, a $5 part. So, you know, a manufacturer will build something to a, plus or minus 3% tolerance, which is well beyond what we find acceptable.
Right.
But there's no recourse to get a tighter tolerance from the
Right. So
manufacturer.
you're going to do it yourself.
So we buy them, and then we sort them, and we'll get, let's say 20 different variations within that assortment, and we'll only accept 7 of them. And then what we do is we use these little.
Oh, I thought this is
Paint
where you
things.
make the audio research tie-dye shirts.
No,
that's
the puffy
someplace
shirts.
else.
It's the puffy
Oh,
shirts.
and that's someplace
Yeah.
else. Okay.
But what they do is then they mark the transistors. You can see them. Oh, this one here, they've got little blue and white stripes
Yeah.
on them.
Interesting.
And so for the same reason we match tubes,
Yeah,
we
sure.
match
Of course, yeah, that
transistors.
makes sense.
And, you look inside a reference Phono 3, for example. You see this little wacky A lot of people they want to correct this kind of crooked piece of metal.
That's
but
on purpose.
That's actually there on purpose at that angle because it's a shield, and Warren determined that that's how it needed to be and where it needed to be. He does a lot with damping materials too. So you can see, for example, there's this piece of damping material in the back panel.
Yep.
You know, and we use actually 3 different types of damping materials. Right. It'll take you into engineering, but you got to turn your camera off.
Oh, okay. Like right now?
Well, as soon as we walk in the store, yeah.
This door right here?
This door right here.
Okay, I'm turning the camera off because we're not allowed. I'm allowed, and I can't show you what's in here.